How's everybody doing today? Good. It's going to be a little slightly different. Aaron is on vacation with Shad, so we're going to.
So they left us alone and we found instruments.
Yeah.
Lucky us.
Yeah. So we're going to be playing a couple songs you might know tonight. And this first song is called "Wish You Were Here." So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Your heroes for gold, hot ashes for trees, hot air for cool breeze, cold comfortable change. Did you exchange a walk-on part on the wall, the lead role in a cage?
Thank you.
Great way to start. Thank you, you guys. It was awesome. My name is Santisha. If you don't know who I already am, I'm filling in for Shad tonight. I like that raucous music to start things off. It's kind of fun. It's groovy. So today is the second talk of a talk series I started last week, and I feel like I'm really loud, so if you could turn me down just a touch, that'd be great. And the talk title is The Ultimate 2020 Consciousness Challenge, and this is talk 2, but I will revisit some of the things that I talked about last week so that you won't get lost in the sermon today. But I do want to say, if you guys all want to go over here, this is the only screen that's working today, and we could come together in community since we're so spread out. Energetically, we're here to connect with one another and feel a sense, and I can move the podium like that. Community is good. To feel that oneness, that's what we're celebrating here at Unity. Thank you. for obliging me. So this series is on creating a clear plan and setting goals for long-term success in healing relationships, finances, more harmony, more joy and happiness, for planting a strong foundation for an awakened 2020. You realize that suffering exists because the connection to divinity is limited. When you claim your divinity in each moment, you make each moment an outward expression of the divine within you and raise each experience to the frequency of the divine, which is written by Jennifer Hoffman. So last week, what we were covering is the first part of going into abundance or prosperity consciousness, which is recognizing why we've been living in limitation and why we're not able to attain these things that we keep putting out there in visualization, affirmations, connecting with this greater energy. And we think that we're doing all the tricks of the trade for the law of attraction, and yet somehow we're coming up short. And so I was speaking to the victim story that many of us have lived with, which is childhood issues, having alcoholic parents, having a narcissist as a parent. Maybe your first relationship was very abusive. But at some point, we got a deep cut that started to make us recognize or make us start to think that there's something wrong with us, that we are not actually lovable, worthy, to receive the greatness and the grandeur that the Christ light would bring us in any situation. And so I started with a quote, and I want to share this from the book called Love Without Conditions by Paul Ferrini, and it says it this way: eliminating scarcity thinking. How you view life depends on whether you feel lovable or unlovable, worthy or unworthy. Either way, you will create an external situation which reinforces your opinion of yourself. All preoccupation with supply comes from living in the past. Lack is simply the remembrance of old wounds. These are too easily projected into the future. To end scarcity thinking, you must forgive the past. Whatever it has been no longer matters. It no longer has effect because you have released it. And I was saying to the people last week that they had 2.5 days to quickly forgive everything from their past so that they could come into the presence and be powerful co-creators with God and attract all the beauty and all the good that they've been seeking out in the world. But unfortunately, it's a bigger process than that. It's a bigger project than that. And those of us that are on this path, this talk series is also about going back to the basics of the unity fundamentals. What is the principles of unity? And forgiveness is a major part of this work. We can't walk around harboring anger and discord and upset towards another and then speak to the mountain, as Jesus says, and say, fall to the sea. I speak to this truth that I'm going to overcome with my consciousness, that this darkness, this limitation, this block will fall into the sea, but I still am going to hold a grudge against my brother or my sister or my mother or my father. That ultimately, when we look at what we're saying about others that is negative, that they are liars or they're betrayers or they're, you can fill it in the words, whatever the word is, that's something, that cut that they did to you. What we realize is when we call things out about others, that there's something in the reflection of that that lives within us. And unfortunately, that's the hardest part of this work, is that we have to be self-reflective and recognize where we have sinned, or where in unity, sin just means your error, the limited thoughts that keep you from being this Christ energy that can move through any obstacle, any problem, any discord. But the error of thought that someone outside of you is wrong and you are right. There's truth to all of it, but in the end, every hard circumstance outside of us is a teacher. Every one of them is a divine plan for us to come up and overcome the difficult stuff. It's helping us have the hard conversation. It's helping us tell our truth. It's helping us build good boundaries with the word no, or, whatever it is. But at the bottom of all of it, it has to come down to worthiness. Worthiness is a massive part of being a co-creator with God. If we feel that we are less than, or we don't feel that our truth is important, or we're not speaking up for what we innately know is your truth, then we're not speaking God's truth through us. And so we're walking through life either scared or guarded or hiding. our full expressed self. And I think that the one thing that we're all looking for on this path, everybody on their religious path, on their spiritual path, whatever their path is God realized in us, right? God realization in us. Otherwise, we're looking and pining and asking from something outside of ourselves to fix things that are inside of ourselves, and only these things can be healed within us. Fannie Lou Hamer says it this way: I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I like that, though. How often do you say, I'm sick and tired of this? I'm a mom, so we say that a lot, right? I'm sick and tired of this. I asked you to get your shoes 75 times before school, and you're still at the door and your shoes aren't on, right? I'm sick and tired of this. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of reminding my 14-year-old son to do basic stuff. Very much so. But in the end, that's just parenting, right? That's not, he's doing this to get me. This is hormones. He was so much smarter at 9 than he is right now at 14, okay? The brain just like went out the window, and now I'm having to negotiate with a physical just blob. And it's okay. He's adorable. At least he's great looking. He's a good kid. But if you are stuck and you feel like you've tried everything and nothing will give, this is the time that you need to start praying before bed, asking for a sign, asking for God to tell you something in your dreams. Start writing a gratitude statement, having a journal next to your bed, and start at least finding the few things you can be grateful for. Because when we say the things that we are grateful for out loud or write it down, we open ourselves up. We create a space for more things to be grateful for. And we're adding unto ourselves more and more beauty and more and more love. We're putting out to the universe that we want to awaken. We want to know what this life is about. We want to know the majesty of this greater energy that people call God, source, spirit, nature. It doesn't really matter what that word is, but it's all collectively the same thing. It's the allness that we're all a part of. It's that omniscience, it's that omnipresence that we can all tap into when we truly believe that we're worthy enough to tap into this energy and become a divine conduit of it. But when we're in the blocks and the limitations and looking at all the things that are not working in our life, we're looking from the little mouse view of life. We're way down here looking at all the overwhelm. We're so overwhelmed. We're living in the reality that the world is throwing us around like a tornado, and we're just basically picking ourselves up and brushing ourselves off from each situation, but we're living from a state of scarcity and a space of lack and a sense of out of control, when what we really want is to harbor this power, this Christ energy that's been promised to us. And start asking the powerful questions. What is trying to emerge in my life right now? What is my gift to share? Because you know that knocking, that feeling and that urging of wanting something more is God knocking at your door saying there is more. It's not your ego, that is you as a soul in your perfection. There is something to be birthed through you. And we ignore it because we're scared to change. We're scared to get out of the rut of doing the same thing over and over again, and yet we're getting the same results. And we wonder why we can't get out of it, but we keep getting this nudge that we want to do something, this nudge to do something. We're getting signs and symbols to do something different, but we don't do something different because we're creatures of pattern. We sit in this room together to remember who we truly are. We are co-creators with this greater love, this greater power. And at every single second and moment, when we sit and remember that we're a part of one another, we are not in competition with each other, we are not trying to get ahead by stepping on one another. We as a group right here are divinely sitting together today. We are one. We are spiritual seekers, here to help one another remember through reflection who we truly are, the perfection of who we are, we start asking those questions. What is my purpose? Why am I here on this planet, dear God? And there will be that inner prompting. That there will be that intuitive hit. There will be those nudges and those signs and those symbols. But when we are in difficult times and we're looking through the little mouse eyes, we ask disempowering questions like, why me? Again? How could this happen again? Why is this my experience over and over again? Who's to blame here? You're to blame here. Because I'm certainly not willing to take responsibility of my actions, my words, my sayings, and what I'm bringing into this abundant universe. I'm complaining, and what I'm doing is bringing more things to complain about. Instead of visiting with that Christ consciousness and starting to look from a higher view and looking down from the eagle view at your life, from a bigger picture.
You all knew. Check.
I missed that part. How'd everyone get over there? I see. Okay. This next song is, does anyone remember the band Tears for Fears? All right. So this is a song about peace. Huh? Yeah. This is a song about, let me put on my capo, that would make a difference. It's a song about peace in these times of troubles. It's nice to sing songs about what's possible.
No,
Drums?
I don't have any.
Try it again.
We don't have any sound up here.
All right.
You don't have sound.
High time we make a stand, sick of the views of the common man, and the love train rides from coast to coast. DJ's the man we love the most. Could you be squeaky clean and smash every hope of democracy? And the headline says you're free to choose. There's egg on your face and mud on your shoes. One of these days gonna call it the blues. Sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of love. Sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of love. Sowing the seeds. I spy tears in their eyes. They look to the skies for some kind of divine intervention. Food goes to waste, so nice to eat, so nice to taste. Politician granny with your high ideals, have you no idea how the majority feels? So without love and a promised land, kick out the style, bring out the jam. Sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of love. Sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of love. Sowing the seeds, the birds and the bees, my girlfriend and me in love. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. So when we start to ask those empowering questions, that is when we will start to see manifestations start to happen. You know, it's like that question, what if? Just feel that in your heart when you say, what if? Like children look through a lens like that. What if this year I finally bought a house in Boulder? What if I got that job that I wanted at CU? What if? And start getting into a sense of childlike wonder. Because in the Bible it says you have to become like little children to know God. You have to get rid of all of the scarring and the hurt that we've picked up throughout the years. And we have to be brave enough to clean ourselves of it and let it go. That's the forgiveness. It's not just others. It's forgiving ourselves that we hold ourselves captive of this brokenness, of the things that have happened, and we identify ourselves as that instead of these powerful co-creators to make a change in our life. Because when we ask these empowered questions, this is the time that you will learn about manifestation. Books will pop up off shelves, just exactly like what you need. You'll notice that, like in my office all the time when I'm starting to think of sermons, and recently writing sermons. I've been giving sermons every Sunday, and then we put on this massive Christmas Eve production where I had to pick the music, and we had amazing soloists and dancers, and it was all on my shoulders. And I'd sit down and I was like, I have no inspiration whatsoever to share about God. I'm living it constantly, and I have a great life, but I'm burnt out right now. I would always walk in my office, and there's always a little book shoved out. Something's sticking out. It's like the universe is like, here, I'm going to make this easy for you. This totally has to do with the last sermon, and you'll move on to the next thing through this book. You know, I'll pick it up the first page will be like, oh my gosh. Spirit is so honorable, so directive, so clear. When you're willing to live from a place that everything is a miracle, everything is in divine order, it's always working for us, not to us. When we really see it through a lens that the universe is kind and honorable and loving, right? So a book will pop out. A conversation that you come across out of nowhere just resonates so deeply with your spirit, and all of a sudden you have inspiration again to keep marching on. And yeah, what she said was so profound, and it was so innately about me. And we go, well, that was a coincidence. And no, it wasn't. That was divine order. All these things are in divine order. But then we have to have the ability to really listen and really be available to this energy that's trying to guide, direct, and drive everything of our life. We have to be available to every situation. So one of the things I'm calling my congregation, which I speak at the 11 o'clock service on Sundays, this is my brother Shad's service right here, and he's out of town right now. And Jack's out of town, so I could do his service tomorrow at 9. Well, I'm this exhausted. I'm like, no, let's write 3 sermons. And then I get my break. So God will give me my favor in a few days. All right, so when I commune with God, this is you know, I'm asking people to make this commitment right now because this is really profound, and I think this is really important. When we commune with God, which is through prayer and meditation, like I commune with God and you commune with God, then we commune together here. That is the essence of community. Did anyone ever take communion as a child in a church or even recently? And did you find it somewhat empty? This idea of the blood of Jesus and the body of Christ. You know, what we're really all looking for is community with this greater potential, with this greater love. And when we sit in this sanctuary, when we do our meditation and prayer practice, we are literally sitting with our soul family. the family that we choose in this world, for greater healing, greater love, greater acceptance, greater awareness. We are deepening each other's spiritual life. You can't feel alone when you have a community like this. It's a very personal relationship in prayer and meditation, but it's extremely powerful when you bring it together in numbers. It ignites, and the ripple goes on and on and on, and it touches people, and they don't know why their heart's being lifted, but it's because we've come together, and we're in this prayerful place together, and that ripple is like a drop in the ocean. It keeps going and going and going. The essence of communion is oneness, recognizing that we're all one. There is nothing separate from us. We are the fabric of source. We are spirit. It's all the Christ light through us. And when we come together, we do greater good as a group of people together in this oneness. But then we go back out in the world and we have more peace and more kindness and more essence of this love for those that maybe bother us or are difficult for us. We have greater patience. We have greater allowance in recognizing that they are also children of God that are struggling. And if we've never struggled, then by God, you just judge. You judge. Don't forgive them. If you've never done anything that you shouldn't be forgiven for, then don't forgive them either. But in the Bible it says, if you are going to see the speck in somebody else's eye, but you have a log jam in your own, then we're not really seeing through the Christ potential, are we? Recognizing the faults in others instead of looking at our own stuff and recognizing that they are a mirror for us for greater healing, greater acceptance, greater love, all of the above. So we're participating in our unfolding. There is something unique, mighty, and magnificent within each one of us, and it is our job to let that unfold within us. It goes back to asking the good questions. It goes back to knowing that God never makes a mistake. It's never, I have arrived, but it's, I'm always on a journey of unfoldment. That we never awaken to this great awakening. Can you try to make this not do that sound? I can even hold a mic if that would stop it. So we're always in the journey, even till the day we die, which we know we're only laying aside this physical body, but the spiritual body is moving on, and it's growing many, many lifetimes, and we have many, many lifetimes from the past that we can actually access lots of things that we learn from there to bring to this moment here so that we don't have to suffer so deeply and we don't have to be so limited and so alone in this journey, right? God never makes a mistake. It's never, I have arrived. God is always answering our questions. But are we receiving? Are we listening? And are we answering? Meditation and life visioning, it attunes us to come into alignment with the vibration of spirit. Some people, if their prayers were answered, they wouldn't vibrationally be ready to receive it. Think about that idea. Because we think that there may be, it depends on what the moment is. If you're in a scary alley and somebody's following you, we might be praying to a God in the sky. I do. That's the only time I do. God, help me, But mostly I understand that that's not what we're praying to. We're praying to the higher nature in us to know swiftly what to do in this moment, to handle the situation, and that we will get ourselves out of this situation. But to understand that everything comes from vibration. So when we're trying to manifest in this abundant universe, we visualize what it is we want. But that's in the intellect, that's in the visual, and then we have to bring it into our heart. And we really have to vibrationally feel what it would feel like to manifest this thing that we have visualized into the universe. If you miss this part, then this visualization is actually saying, I want this because I don't want this. I want this, but I don't want because I don't want this, right? I want it because I don't want that. I don't want to do it, right? So we're still getting more of the what I don't want because we still haven't been in allowance to understand that what we've projected out there in a visualization has to be felt. in every fiber of our body, that we believe that it has already happened, and we live in a state of gratitude that Spirit has already given it to us. In Genesis 1:3 it says, "And God said, let there be light. And there was light. And seeing that the light was good, God separated the light from the darkness." In the Bible, it speaks to this luminosity that all beings will experience when we seek to leave the darkness and open up to what is truly our birthright, which is the light through us. We want to realize these teachings about being born again into the mystical. Not born again to make it right with God or to make it right with Jesus. We want to be born again into a new consciousness, into the mystical ways of life, and recognizing that underneath all this mind chatter is actually this miraculous life where we can live, where we're psychically connected, we are divinely directed, and we are actually shown in dreams and signs and symbols that which is being called for our next evolvement in our outpicturing of who we are supposed to be out here. But we believe so much in the world, in the things of the world, that we start to make the things of the world be God, instead of remembering the majesty of what this light can do through us when we change this lens from the world is out to get me to the world is working with me and for me. And this little hiccup I have with this person, and this little situation with my boss, and this situation, all of this is showing me something about me. What am I harboring in me that I'm not liking in these people? It's easy to figure out where you're fragmented and you're not living in your wholeness. So I had a dream this week that I was on New Year's Eve. I did a whole vision board on my own with my husband, and we came up with 3 major things for my career and my life and the things that I want to create in my life, and he came up with things too. We actually did it with some other friends as well. And this week I had a dream that I had all night long, and I thought it is just so out there when I first woke up, but it was a dream that Mike and I wanted to have a baby, which there is no way we want to have a baby. We've got 3 kids. We are busy as all get out. But in the dream, we're going to do it IVF, so it's a really safe baby. The baby's going to be fine. You know, we're like doing the whole thing. And all night, I'm like stressing out. Do I want a baby? But I guess we're going to have a baby. It was just like this really like crazy dream. And in the end, they were deciding whether they're going to put 1 embryo in, 2 or 3. We decided we'd go for 3, so at least 1 would come out of the situation. I mean, it's just bizarre because I have never thought of these things, except I do counsel with people with this topic, so I guess that's why it was in my subconscious. And I'm stressing out. I don't want 3, though. I do not want 3. I can't do 3. 3 is way too much. That's going to break me. I will literally have a nervous breakdown. I'll end up in a nervous hospital or something, you know. And we're waiting. We have a 2-week period to find out if there's 1, 2, or 3 babies. And right before they're going to tell us, I wake up. First of all, we're like, oh, God. Oh, thank God. That is not happening right now. But I was laying there and I was thinking, what was that dream about? And I have noticed that in dreams for me, they tend to be birthing. Like birthing is a big part of my life. I had my children at home. I love the whole idea of natural childbirth. I love everything about that aspect. But it represents the birthing of a new life for me. So dreams tend to have to do with labor and birth. And I realized that I was okay with 1 or 2 good things coming. But the 3rd was like, no way. And I think we're like that, sort of. Even when we're excited for something to come in our life, there's almost a protection that we really don't feel worthy enough to get all of those blessings. Are you following me here? Like, this is the idea, because I really had put out these 3 things that I want to create this year. Cultivate, plant the seed, see it grown, see it delivered and ready by the end of this year. And here I'm going, not third, not the 3, but the 3 is the one that I want the most of the 3 that I wanted to manifest. So just let's play with that idea, just so that you start to look at your dreams and start to examine how Spirit talks with you. How else would God show up to you, right? It has to be with animals. If you follow animal totems, I'm always looking for those things when I'm running. Out of the mouths of babes, obviously, children will say stuff to you like, whoa, that is definitely something I needed to hear. But I knew the second that it hit me, the birth of the 3 is me birthing these dreams that I have had within me all of my life and allowing myself to give it to myself. I was too insecure to give myself the 3rd one. Right, so why don't you bring to mind right now what you decided you're going to either let go of for the new year or you're going to attract for the new year? Are any of you brave enough to call out? What are some of the changes you decided you're going to make for 2020? Okay, you're going to get a lot of money. I love it. Okay. Earn more money doing music. That's good. Writing a book. Who said that? Oh, nice. Okay. Working less and enjoying life more. And you know what, Joel? That's all on you, because you don't have to be doing all this stuff around here, by the way. Okay, what else? What about just more time to enjoy the precious things of life, to observe life at a rational level of energy, and not chasing our tails to chase our tails to achieve this thing, to get to this next thing, and we're just on blinders. How many of you can remember what your New Year's resolution was for 2019 right now? You can? What was it? Earn more money. I love it. Who else? It's hard to remember 2019, right? I'm always going on a diet, so I'm sure I could say that. Does anybody remember what they said for 2019, and did you manifest it? Good for you. Well, that deserves this. Okay. Yours was quitting smoking, and you did too? Good for you, Farouk. All right. You what? You earn more money. Okay, wonderful. This is good. So just listening to other people being brave enough to share that they did overcome some limited behaviors, limited thought processes that kept them from kept them from repeating the same thing year after year. This is the year 2020. Who would have ever even thought we would have made it to this year? 2020 is mind-boggling, is it not? So why not make it the greatest manifesting year of all time? So I have a girlfriend who had a really tough 2 years, about 5 years ago, and she was married to the love of her life. They were in their late 40s, early 50s. They were just about to launch this vitamin product that had all these financial backers, big-time names, and when this thing launched, they were just about to be multimillionaires through this whole thing. Everything was just falling into place. Everything was perfect. Everything was exciting. And she kept getting this hunch that he needed to get insurance on this product, and he needed to get insurance on his life, because it was all under his name. And she kept saying, I really want you to get life insurance. And he's like, I am the epitome of health. This guy was like a workout. Everything was perfect. He was the healthiest person on the planet. And they were about to sell this crazy drink that was going to change everybody's lives. And before you know it, it's just about to launch, and he dies of a heart attack, and there was no insurance for anything. And she lost their home, their cars, their children were all grown now on their own, and she lived her life couch surfing for over a year, going from the top of the top to the bottom to the bottom. And we can't all really like recognize what that would be like, but we've all had an experience where it felt like nothing would go right, right? That's the year where you're starting to think, all of my good has left me. All of my good has left me, and I'm too old to want to start over. I'm too old to have to try a whole new life. It's like everything she dreamt of is gone. And how do we find that next piece? And so the last couch that she stayed on, the situation ran out, and she had nowhere else to go, no one to go to. And she was a spiritual woman, and one of the things that she said when she shared this story with me is that one of her greatest fears of all life was to be homeless. She just had this innate fear of homelessness, and now she had literally manifested for herself homelessness from a life that you would have never believed would have possibly ever brought her there. And she had nothing. And so she went to this park, a local park, and she sat from the sun up, and she asked God to please just beam her up, to let this be over, that it was over. She exhausted everything that she knew that was innately powerful in her to fix the situation. There was no hope everywhere she looked, and she was just saying, God, I've had an amazing life. I'm done now. Or I need something to change. I'm not leaving here until something changes in my life. I can't go on like this. And she sat all day, and she watched people riding their bikes, and she watched people jogging, and she watched this and that going on. And the nighttime came, and a phone call came in, and it was from her sister-in-law, the sister of her husband that had passed away a year and a half prior. And she said, you're never going to believe what happened last night. And she said, what? And she said, the day before happened to be her husband's birthday, who had passed away. And he came to his sister in a dream. And he said, because he knew his sister was also with no money at the time, he said, you have to take your last $50 and you have to play the lottery. And you have to take care of Joy. You've got to take care of Joy. Like, she was in dire straits, and he knew it in the spiritual realm. His sister has to confide in the husband, who's like, you're not spending your last $50 on a lottery ticket from a dream. She's like, I have to do it. She did, and she won $1 million. For real. This woman sits in our church every single Sunday. For real. And she said, so I have money for you. She didn't get half of the $1 million, but that's not the point. She gave her enough to get on her feet and back into a life where she now is married to the most amazing man. They live right on literally Pearl Street in Boulder. They have the most abundant life. But that happened. She stopped, and she sat, and she tested God. And that's kind of what this talk is about. The 2020 challenge is you challenge this energy. Don't sit back and think that it's rude to kind of push God. Push it. If you keep repeating the same life over and over and over every single year, the universe loves you. God's been trying to get a hold of you anyway, right? But she just finally heard it. There's no more couches to sit on. There's nothing left. She had nothing left but to 100% lean into God and say, I don't know what else to do. Either take me or help me. And the word help, Michael Beckwith says this, and I love this. When you are ready to manifest all your good, you go into prayer and you ask, help me. Help means hello, eternal, loving presence. Help me. So I just want to take you into like a minute or two of meditation, and we'll just remember what we're talking about here. I only got through half my sermon, so you want to hear the rest of it? I'll be speaking tomorrow at 9 and 11. I'll start from the second half tomorrow. So let's just get some music going and close our eyes and just get into the presence of this powerful energy that is available, awake, and alive, swirling and whirling around in and through our hearts, minds, bodies, spirits, souls. And remembering this urging, this longing, this wanting is God tapping on the door of your soul, saying you're worthy. This is your unfoldment this lifetime. Please listen. Please remember who you are. Please don't live small anymore. Please hear my voice when you're going to bed at night, that I love you, that I'm here for you, that I'm divinely guiding you, that your angels are surrounding you, and that they're preceding you, making the pathway open to everything that you desire in your life. May it flow, may it be beautiful, may it be filled with light. As we move into gratitude at night, thanking God for our children, for the roof over our head, for our church center, for our spiritual friends, for our puppies and our kitties and our animals and our birdies. Thank you, God, for all this beauty that surrounds my life. But there's just this one little thing that I need you to help me with. Do you think you could do that, Spirit? Can you help me? I want to sing. I want to dance. I want to love my job. I want my marriage to be fulfilling. I want my kids to love me. I want to say sorry. I want to be forgiven. I want to feel whole. God, do you think you could help me remember the truth of my being? I thank you, Spirit, for everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have no complaints whatsoever.